enough knowledge to look at your chart, understand the forces that are acting on you at a particular time so that you can deal with them or counteract them. I've been using astrology like that for about the last 10 years, and it's really saved me a lot of trouble and grief, I'll tell you. Knowing when to lay low and when I can come out and try to make, push for advancement has saved a lot of trouble. Knowing who I can trust and who I can't by doing their charts has really been very, very valuable. Oh, he was asking what about now, not what about no. Okay. I don't know, today's kind of a lightweight day. It's not really too heavy astrologically. The other day, what was that, Wednesday or Thursday? Yeah. Oh, that was a bad one. There was about 18 different influences in the course of the whole day. That was a rough one. Okay, so let's go on and finish up this introductory section on what is Jyotish, and then we can go on. Different features of the Jyotish sky are described in the Vedic scriptures. It's not that they're only mentioned in the astrology scriptures, they're mentioned in the general Vedic scriptures as well. For example, in Srimad Bhagavatam, this great machine consisting of the stars and planets resembles the form of a Shishumara, a dolphin, in the water. It is sometimes considered an incarnation of Krishna, Vasudeva. Great yogis meditate upon Vasudeva in this form because it is actually visible. This form of the Shishumar has its head downward and its body coiled. On the end of its tail is the planet of Dhruva with the North Star, or Polaris. On the body of its tail are the planets of the demigods, Prajapati, Agni, Indra, and Dharma. And at the base of its tail are the planets of the demigods Dhata and Vidhata. Where the hips might be on the Shishumar are the 7 saintly sages like Vashishta and Angura. We know them as the 7 sisters or Pleiades. The coiled body of the Shishumara chakra turns toward its right side, on which the 14 nakshatras from Abhijit to Punarvasu are located. On its left side are the 14 nakshatras from Pushya to Uttarashada. Thus its body is balanced because its sides are occupied by an equal number of stars. On the back of the Shishumar is the group of stars known as Ajaviti, and on its abdomen is the Ganges that flows in the sky, the Milky Way. So the Vedic sages were very familiar with the anatomy of the Milky Way, the galaxy, the stars, and they described it as a dolphin, shape of a dolphin in the sky. And this is a huge shape in the sky because on one side are the 14 nakshatras on the eastern side of the universe, and on the other side, the 14 nakshatras on the west. So, but it's described as a great machine, yantra. Yantra in Sanskrit means a machine or a pattern, something that functions in a predictable or mechanical way. The matrix, yeah, the matrix. So here we are. Where's my sunglasses? We're stuck in the matrix, and we're trying to get out. And what is the formula for getting out? Well, of course, chanting the name of God, and we know that. The mantra gives us release because it brings us to a level of reality that's not controlled by the machine. Still, we have to deal with the functions of the machine because, as I said, it's a kind of trap. And so the Vedic knowledge gives us the information about how the trap works. Here you have all these stars. But which stars affect which areas of the human life? Well, this is given by the houses, the bhavas. Bhava means to exist, or the flavor of existence. Has a double meaning. So you could look at the houses, and we'll see this later in a diagram. You can see the houses are like lenses, colored filters, over the pattern of the stars in the sky. And we can turn this filter. It's like if you have a gel on a light, you know, like in a theater. If you ever seen a spotlight in a theater, it has different colored gels and a wheel, and you can turn the wheel and make the spotlight one color or another color. It's like that. The houses are superimposed on the map of the sky. The astrological signs are rashis, nakshatras. And by turning this wheel at different times of the day and night, different parts of the person's life are influenced by particular stars. They're like lenses or like filters that only let through a certain color of light, a certain aspect of existence. So the houses and the signs, or bhavas and rashis, interact. And this is the basis of astrological interpretation. Where is a person, which sign is a person born under? What stars are rising at the time of their birth? And then from that point we can calculate which houses are affecting which aspects of the person's chart, the planets and so on. So let's go on here. Now the divisional charts, Vargas, are harmonic charts that allow us to make a very fine, detailed, and nuanced analysis of how the rashas and bhavas are interacting. Just like as if you had, let's say, a background chart or like a map of the sky. And then on top of that, you have this filter of different colors, which is the houses. Then you have a microscope that allows you to focus in on one area and look at it, examine it in a very detailed way. Well, that would be the Vargas or the divisional charts, harmonic charts. And let's say you have up to a 60 power microscope. You can expand the areas of the chart by up to 60 diameters. The 60 division chart, very high harmonic chart. So you can examine by different magnifications, and in that way you can focus on certain functions of life which are influenced by the different areas of the chart. And then of course there's the planets themselves. The planets are like, if you think of the chart with the houses and the signs as a set, a stage. Like in a Shakespearean play, the stage may be set with like a street scene with different houses on it. And then the planets are like actors who live in those houses and perform different roles. And they are active. They have relationships with one another. They move around and do things. That's what the planets do. So it's like your chart is a stage, and the planets are the actors on that stage. And they move around in and out of the different houses, and they perform activities, they have relationships with one another, and they also bring certain influences or reflect certain influences from your chart, depending on how the stage is set up. So the planets may be the same for everyone, but the stage is different because we're born at different times and different places. So just like a language has nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. You could consider Jyotish to be a language that describes human life. And the four pillars, they're like the four parts of speech that we can use to make sentences. And they have their own grammar and syntax. So the point is, the four pillars of astrology are the grahas, the planets, the rashis and nakshatras, the signs, the vargas, the divisional charts, and the bhavas or houses. These four fundamentals have to be mastered before you can really understand the science of how to interpret a chart. So I'm sure it would be very nice if we could just start casting charts and start interpreting them. But without mastering the fundamentals first, that would be like asking a musician who doesn't know how to play scales to sit down and play Beethoven's symphony. You can imagine the result of that. But we experience that all the time. There are many people who claim to understand Jyotish, but they don't have a really basic knowledge of these 4 pillars or 4 fundamentals. The planets, the grahas, the rashis and nakshatras or signs, the vargas or divisional charts, and the bhavas or the houses. You have to have a good grounding, just like a musician has to have a complete